Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com. Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids.
And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey all, got an interesting question here, and it's either going to be very long or very short, because when you're debating with leftists, you're not debating with sane people. And the question is, are you even able to convince people of your point if they are believing in it like they do a religion or an ideology with no proof or empiricism? Because good luck getting, to get a radical terrorist Muslim to believe that there isn't 72 virgins up there waiting for him. And good luck getting a Southern Baptist fire and brimstone teacher or pastor down from the South to believe there's no God. So that's the one thing I would caution decline on this is, are you banging your head against the wall? That's the first thing. And if you are, you should stop that. So let's go through the request. Dear Cappy, I'm a big fan of yours. I have recently gotten into a debate with some Bernie Sanders supporters. They claim that democratic socialism is different than socialism that we see in Venezuela. They claim that services like the military and the police are socialist because they come from the government. I know this isn't true. Well, that's not their public sector. That doesn't mean they're socialists. I know this isn't true, but don't know what military and police fall under. They are not goods, and they don't produce things. Well, they're government services. They're public sector services. I'd like for you to explain what is democratic socialism. 2, does it fall differently on the spectrum than regular socialism? 3, what are police and military considered an economy? Thanks, Andrew. Okay, well, let's go through all this. They claim, one, they're wrong right off the bat. They say democratic socialism is different than socialism we see in Venezuela. No. Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, and I don't know about Maduro. I mean, there was probably some fraud during the election, but with Hugo Chavez, he was elected. Okay, democratic meaning democracy, people vote, and we have socialism. We'll go through the details of democratic socialism, but the key difference is that as opposed to a dictatorship or totalitarianism type aspect of country like the Soviet Union, East Germany, North Korea, there's no democracy. You're not allowed to vote. It's socialism, take it or love it or leave it. Well, I'm sure you can't leave because they'll kill you. So the ignorance of your friends who right now are so stupid to think that Venezuela is status socialism, like a tyrannical socialism. No, the people did it to themselves. They voted that shit in. All right, so you could see that happen. That's where it is. So just to right off the bat, they're wrong there. Whether they realize they're wrong or not is another thing. They claim services like the military, and then we get into it. So let's answer this. What is democratic socialism? Let's go to Wikipedia. Democratic socialism is a political ideology that advocates political democracy alongside social ownerships of the means of production with democratic management of enterprises within a socialist economic system. The term democratic socialism, sometimes used synonymously with socialism, the adjective democratic is often added to distinguish it from the Marxist-Leninist brand of socialism, which is widely viewed as being non-democratic. Like I say, it's viewed as non-democratic. Democratic socialism is distinguished from both the Soviet model of centralized socialism and from social democracy, where social democracy refers to support for political democracy, regulation, a capitalist economy, and a welfare state. The distinction with the former is made on the basis of authoritarian form of government and centralized economic system that emerged in the Soviet Union during the 20th century, while the distinction with the latter is made on the basis that democratic socialism is committed to systematic transformation of our economy, while social democracy is not. That is, whereas social democrats only seek to humanize capitalism through state intervention, democratic socialists see capitalism as inherently incompatible with democratic values of liberty, equality, and solidarity. Believe that the issues inherent in capitalism can only be solved by superseding private ownership with some form of social ownership. See, so you don't own your house, you're not allowed to own a company because the community, the country is more important. The state, the people, supersedes the individual. Ultimately, democratic socialists believe the reforms aimed at addressing the economic contradictions of capitalism will only cause more problems to emerge elsewhere in the economy, that capitalism can never be sufficiently humanized, and that it must therefore ultimately be replaced with socialism. So basically they want to own all the shit, and there's no meritocracy, there's no work. I mean, you work as hard, you become a doctor, you make 10,000 rubles a year. You're a janitor, you make 10,000 rubles a year. You're a welfare bum, you make 10,000 rubles a year. So I hate to dismiss an entire economic system that's just wrong as simply dismissing it as wrong and a failure, but it is, and well, you see that. But the only place, and here's the other thing. Where'd your question go? There you go. So let's address what is democratic socialism. Right now, it's an idea. It doesn't really exist anywhere. It's a theory. It's like, let's give all the power to the government, and then the government won't take over and control or be tyrannical. People will quickly point to the Scandinavian countries as success, but the problem is that's not democratic socialism. You still have private companies that are not owned by the government or the state or the people. You may have high taxation rates, but you don't have what is functionally or descriptive as a democratic socialist country, where all the means of production, the economy is socialized, it's owned by the state, and there's no private ownership, but then people somehow are still allowed to vote. What ends up happening is what you see in Venezuela, where you eliminate private ownership of everything, the government comes in, a bunch of lazy, fucking worthless liberal arch majoring fucks like Maduro and Chavez, or at least Chavez was military, like your friends who are Bernie supporters who don't really want to work hard in life. They think that they should be the leaders, they know everything. And they're going to run the economy right into the fucking ground. So, I'm trying to think of a case where an economy has been socialized and it didn't tank, it didn't crash. And I just don't see it. And again, people will point to the Swedish and the Norway. Well, Norway's got oil. Sweden has private companies, and they do allow for private ownership. So this is your typical. So you're in college, and these kids think they're really smart because their teachers and their parents have told them they're smart. And now they're like, oh, they're all revolutionary. I mean, they're having conversations like late night in college dorms, man. Those are the dumbest fucking waste of time ever. So that's what democratic socialism is in theory. Never succeeded in the real world. Point to it. Please show it to me where it's working right now, where you actually have a totally socialized economy and still have the right to vote, and I'll be impressed. But it just doesn't exist. Does it fall differently on the spectrum than regular socialism? Well, I mean, historically, regular socialism has been, government owns everything. And you have to be careful with the word socialism because it can mean like a mixed economy where it's like some private, some public, or it can be a full dictatorial communist dictatorship. Historically, socialism has meant that it falls under a communist dictatorship. There really isn't any ownership of anything. And then effectively, you never have a vote. I mean, you could vote. Which communist do you want to vote for? So because it's theoretical, it falls differently on the spectrum in terms of ownership because, we can vote for that. But the irony is that what if the people decide they didn't want socialism anymore? Could you vote yourself into a capitalist economy then? Because democracy is very important. You want the people to have the right to vote. Oh no, then this fucking smart little thought police of your friends over there in college, they come in and start killing people. So that it's cute. It doesn't fall on the spectrum because it's never existed really in a functional capacity anyway. But it's a cute little idea. It's very cute. Pat them on the head. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. What are police and military considering an economy? Thanks. Okay, it is mindless. It's not an impressive argument. It's not intelligent. It's stupid. It's weak. It's cowardly. And that's, the police and cops and military are socialists. No. There's a difference. And that's the difference between a universal or a public good and they're the same. Public and universal good, same thing. You might see that, but it's just called a public good. And then there is private goods or private services. All right. The whole idea of the difference is that there are some things the government is better at doing, or some things that should be provided by the government in the economy. For example, we don't want private police. Then it's whoever's got the most money would have the strongest police force. You'd have private armies, and there would be no way to affect law. It would be very unfair. Things like that. Same thing with roads. Well, if we just let all the rich people and companies have roads, it would be built directly to the place. And fuck you if you got to go to the grocery store. So there's that. What else? I'm trying to think of what else is a good public good. Military. There's a good one. Like, hey, yeah, we can have private militaries, but it's probably best if we pool all of our resources and we protect this nation as a whole rather than rely on individual militias to repel the Chinese invasion. Now, what the genuinely intellectually dishonest Bernie socialist supporters and stuff like that say, see, it's socialism. You're for cops. It's like, well, yeah, I'm for cops, but that doesn't make it socialist. What it is a public good, and what public goods are is my consumption of a public good would not deny you from having a public good. So if, I don't know, I'm driving down the road and a cop pulls me over, that cop's protection is me getting a ticket, even though I don't want one. Me having this law forced on me, this police force, service to society, protecting society from my speeding. That doesn't prevent you from, getting protection from the cops if they gotta come over to your house and shoot a burglar or something. Same thing with the military. Right now, I'm being defended by the F-15s flying up in the air, as are you, and the aircraft carriers. So it is a question of consumption. Us having police, and they'll go to this and say, well, you like cops, you like they'll point the thing that it benefits everybody. You like roads, don't we? Yeah, I like roads. Well, yeah. Where they fail to mention is then ask them about income transfers or wealth redistribution, and that's different. Because whereas a public good I cannot prohibit you from benefiting from military or the police or a judicial system or a road system, etc. If I consume some dollars collecting welfare and raise your taxes, I have prevented you from spending that dollar. So that dollar now goes to me, you can't spend it. And that's the key difference, is these people don't give two flying shits about the military, the cops, or any genuine public good. They hate these things usually. They hate the cops. Down with the, fuck the pigs, down with the police, Black Lives Matter, all that. Oh, we hate the military, warmongering, killing babies over in Vietnam. So they typically hate the public goods that benefit everybody. But they're greedy, lazy fucks. That's why they're college kids who are Bernie Sanders supporters. They're lazy fucks. They don't want to work hard. Are there any engineers in that group that you're debating? Probably not, because they don't want to work hard. They want other people's money. And then when I have to pay extra taxes or you have to pay extra taxes, we can no longer consume those dollars anymore. It goes to them. And that's really what socialists want. Look, socialism is very simple. It's human genetic laziness, all right? And it's ingrained in our bodies and our minds because being lazy is how you survived. You would only chase after that antelope if there was a really good way to do it. Otherwise, if you start running around working hard, you'd burn out all your fuel, you burn out all your calories of energy, and when food was an issue back in the caveman days, you'd die. So you'd sit, you'd wait, you'd be smart. You would only expend resources unless it's absolutely necessary and was a benefit to you. So I understand there's this genetic thing, but now that food is not an issue, now that we are in roughly a meritocracy, or that we should be in a meritocracy, if you just want to lie around and collect government checks, you're lazy. Just admit it. You're lazy. And that's the vast majority of socialists. They're just lazy, immoral, parasitic fucks. They just want other people's money. They'll throw the most spectacular of arguments up saying why they deserve it. They're oppressed, they're discriminated, they're bigoted, there's misogyny and racism, and and now the new one will be coming up because I have a mental disorder, I'm disabled, In the end, you're just a bunch of lazy fucks. That's all it is. I mean, seriously, and take an inventory. Look at your Bernie Sanders people, the people you're arguing with. Name me what percentage of are in engineering? What percentage of them are majoring in accounting? What percentage of them are actually studying a hard discipline that shows that they want to work and produce something of value to society? Or are they just a bunch of fucking limp dick, jerking off liberal arts studies majors? I mean, really, what? I mean, are they English majors? Wow, majoring in English in an English-speaking country, ooh. I mean, it's proof as to whether or not they are lazy. Now, you might have an engineer in there who dripped the Kool-Aid or whatever. But for the most part, this is why I ask you what they're majoring in and if they're in college. Are you just wasting your time with these kids? Seriously, do you have time for this? You're not going to convince them. You're not going to convince them. You could show them this video. They're going to, oh yeah, man, he's just a white male. Oh, he's just so ignorant. I mean, they're going to come up with typical millennial dipshit responses that address nothing of the history, reality, facts, statistics. They're not going to, because they want to. They want to believe in this. People want to believe in Christianity. People choose to believe in Islam. People choose to believe in Judaism. People choose to believe in the flat earth. They choose. And when they choose to believe something, you can't argue with belief because there's no proof. There was no proof to convince them that they should have gone into it, and there's no proof to convince them that it's going to get out. There's just no way. So I would save your time and effort and energy. You're just going to waste your time with them. Go find some new friends. Find some mature adults that actually are going to work for a living. And then when they all want to, they think of Venezuela's great. No, just different. It's going to be different this time. They're doing it wrong. They keep doing it wrong all the time. And until they become intellectually honest and want to actually have a real conversation and resolve these issues, you're just going to be wasting your breath and your time. So don't worry about it. Terribly sorry. Go find some other friends. Go have some fun. You know what? Lie. Say, yeah, you're right, man. I mean, if there's a hot chick and you want to stick your dick between her titties, absolutely. You lie your ass off. You're a socialist. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Dude, Hugo Chavez and Che Guevara are awesome guys. Whatever. Just, but for true intellectual stimulation, for truly intellectually engaging conversation, you're just going to have to find libertarians, and even now those guys are a little bit corrupt, or conservatives, or people who just aren't leftists and socialists. It's another thing. I mean, isn't it amazing? I bet you they all think they're really independent-minded people when they are just like 98% of all the under 25-year-olds. Like, they just conform. They just believe the exact same thing. But, you know, their teachers told them they were independent-minded. So, I'm independent-minded, yeah. They're fucking lemmings. They're just fucking sheep, dude. So stop hanging out with sheep. Go hang out with some wolves or something. Best luck to you. Toodles.